we're still talking about polygamy. I looked at it calmed me down. I was like, okay, cool. It is loving, respectful, and don't everything. Right. I looked at it and it calmed me down. I was pissed that such a prominent public figure was in and normalizing a relationship dynamic that was so patriarchal. But in the end, I looked at it and it wasn't as hierarchical as I thought it would be. He loves them, they love him, they love each other. All of them support one another, all of them love one another. It's a relationship where love is just everywhere, The two sister wives love each other and they love him. And so it's like it can almost give you the illusion that this is a equal relationship. This is an egalitarian relationship. It's not as patriarchal as whatever. Or it is patriarchal, but it's fine. Because the patriarchy isn't always harmful. Sometimes the patriarchy is cute. Sometimes the patriarchy is fine if the patriarch is a good person. Wabo. The patriarchy is fine if the patriarch is deserving of that position of superiority or whatever the heck. Nah. But I sat down and thought to myself, like, the platonic I love you, you love me part of a relationship, because being in a relationship is not 100% romance and sex. It's just a part of it is just loving the other person. A part of a relationship is just loving and caring and supporting the other human being, And so on some supporting, loving, caring, supporting one another, I don't think I particularly have a problem with that relationship, but that's the only part that he's showcasing. He's not showcasing. Obviously, he wouldn't be showcasing the romantic part. Any relationship, okay, the romantic part is not showcasing. Then obviously, like any decent human being, he's not showcasing the sexual part. Wabo. And when all things are said and done, when it comes to those two parts of the relationship, the truth is that he's not giving them as much as they are giving him. They only receive this romantic sexual connection from him, and he receives it from both of them, and from Sima on the other side, And so he expects on some romantic sexual, he probably expects them to remain loyal. He expects them to only be, doing the do's with him, That's an expectation that he has for them, but it's not something that they can expect in return. Wabo. And that part is fundamentally patriarchal. The fact that these two women, it is expected of these two women, loyalty is expected of these two women, but they don't expect it from him. That is a fundamentally patriarchal thing, That is the norm in society. That is the norm among all relationships. When a man cheats, no, he's a man, he's a boy. Being a boy, I must understand that he's a man. When a woman cheats, she's a whore. When a woman cheats, she's unloyal. She's all of these different things. She's painted in such a horrible light. Wabo. But it's not for men, Like as a woman, you must expect so little of him. You can't even expect loyalty from him. Basic loyalty from him. You can't even expect basic loyalty from him. And here's the thing, I don't know how these two women feel about the fact that their man is oh, I love you baby, then going and sleeping with someone else. I don't know how they feel about that, you know. But ultimately, they don't expect loyalty from him in the same way that he expects loyalty from them, you know. And so it's easy to look at the relationship dynamic on TikTok and see, no, they love each other, they support each other, it's all cute, it's all wonderful, it's all beautiful. But he's not showcasing the romantic and sexual parts of his relationship and how his wives react to those parts of his relationship, you know. You know what I mean? As he doesn't have to. He can put whatever he wants to put on the internet. He doesn't have to do it. And on top of that, I don't think he should. We don't want to see off again. For real. I mean, and that's the problem. The problem with all of these different things is women, at the end of the day, giving so much within a relationship. And they can't even expect the littlest of littlest from men, you know. At the end of the day, what I must sacrifice within a relationship is far more than what he must sacrifice for a relationship, you know. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The problem is a culture where women must give their all for the bare minimum. You know, the problem is a culture that normalizes women giving their husbands loyalty and cooking for them and doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that and sacrificing their personhood and their identity for a man. And they can't even expect basic loyalty in return. You know, a culture that keeps the myth alive that boys will be boys. You know, the falsehood that you can't expect a man to be loyal, that there's something biological within them that will force him to cheat. That's the problem. The problem is boys will be boys is a falsehood. And we were moving past the point of believing in that falsehood. And now it feels like with Sima being in a polygamous relationship, she's bringing the falsehood back. You know, the falsehood that you cannot expect as much from a man as a man expects from you is coming back. You know, and it's all fun and cute to see that these three people love and respect one another. But the fundamental is that if wifey goes to the club and gets boinked and gets, what a vulgar term, guys, and gets intercoursed. Wow. If wifey goes to the club and gets boinked, wifey will be wifey no more. But hubby has got 3 wives. If wifey goes to the club and gets boinked, wifey will be wifey no more. But hubby has 3 wives. And that's my problem, you know? At the end of the day, that's a myth that should not continue. Okay, my space is finishing again. But I'm done. I'm basically done. I'm basically done. Bye. Bye. Men do better. And women also do better. Stop expecting less than you give. Anyway, bye-bye.